Hey everyone. So we're a few days away from Global Yoga Therapy Day, and I was asked to create a video describing more or less what is yoga therapy. And since I've never really been the best at describing things, I thought, hey, why not give it a shot? Because yoga therapy is gets confused a lot, and people say, well, isn't all yoga therapy? This is the most common thing you hear. Isn't all yoga therapy? And kind of. I think a lot of stuff could be considered therapies. Um, that doesn't necessarily mean it's the most ideal therapy, and that's part of what yoga therapy is looking at. So one of the main differences between a yoga teacher, say, and a yoga therapist can be first the amount of hours of study. So to be a yoga teacher, actually to be a yoga teacher, you don't need any studies at all. You and some of the best teachers I've had have had never taken a test for yoga teacher, and they still call themselves a teacher, and that's actually legal and ethical. But generally, what it is people take a 200-hour training and they learn um, a little bit is what I say. And when I did my first training, I remember getting out and thinking, "Wow, I knew so much." And like many wiser people years later, I can look back and say, wow, I really didn't know that much. But I had a great education and I did learn a lot, but I learned a little bit of a lot. And like having a puzzle laid out, I had a lot of different pieces, but didn't actually see how they could all fit together. Um, to be a yoga therapist is a 1,000-hour minimum certification study, and some people will say, well, great, you study, what does that really mean? And you're right, like a lot of people can take really good tests and they can just do the time or they can spend the money and get it done. And so, does that mean that a yoga therapist is better? No, not at all. And this isn't about that. It's not about comparing. It's just about sort of seeing, well, what are the differences? The main difference is how a yoga therapist looks at what yoga is as well as what a human being is. So yoga therapy takes from a traditional model, which is called the Panchamaya Kosha, the five sheaths, which you have in yoga. But in yoga therapy, it becomes a huge framework of essentially what the person you're working with is, what we all are made of, these different ontological frameworks of what a human being is. And that becomes the foundation of which things grow out of. Now, the yoga therapists also have different ways of going. Some yoga therapists have previous backgrounds as physical therapists, some have backgrounds as social workers and psychologists and psychotherapists, much like regular yoga teachers. However, in yoga therapy, they're taking the lens that this is all made up of and applying their other studies into it. And then there's also these feeding pools within that. So in a lot of trainings, you will have both physical therapists and psychotherapists and acupuncturists and various modalities all going in, causing this bigger pool of information going around, which is really great. The yoga therapist doesn't see their model as fully 100% because nothing really is fully 100%. So we can then take in other models as long as it can fit into that similar framework, right? Which is not to say we can't just walk along somewhere and say, oh, I like this path, and then I look at this other map and I take this path. They don't always line up, right? So yoga therapy, using this framework of the Panchamaya Kosha largely, among other yogic and medical texts. And this is what really becomes important, is so many yoga teachers essentially throw off allopathic Western medicine and they say, no, this is wrong. We're yogis, this blah blah blah. As long as you eat an Ayurvedic diet, you will never get sick. This is not accurate because this is not looking at what the texts were actually saying. Right? Yoga therapists actually work pretty much hand in hand a lot of times with doctors, with mental health workers, with physical workers. Right? It becomes this hand in hand thing. So instead of seeing as we're we're different and we don't work together and you're that and we're that. We actually go more to say, okay, well, you have this and we have this. How can we work together to have the best benefit for our clients? It's really very integrative in that way. And it's one of the reasons I truly love the practice of yoga therapy is that it can go with so many things because you're looking more at frameworks of health as opposed to prescriptions of health. It allows for more adaptability, more resilience in your client. So it's a bit of a ramble as I usually do, but I wanted to get this video just to share a little bit for people out there about what is yoga therapy and why it can be of benefit for you. So if you have more questions, please send me messages. My passion is helping people, whether it's as a yoga therapist or whether it's as a certified rolfer, whether it's as a meditation teacher, or whether it's as the guy editing the video and receiving the comments back. And if I can't be of service, I have a lot of people in my networks who can, and I'm happy to refer and connect just to get you what you need because that's what yoga therapy is all about. So thanks everyone. Have yourself a super wonderful day, and in a few days we'll have the Global Yoga Wellness Therapy Day. Thanks.